How's it going, everybody? Welcome into Sprint Car Central. Today we got a pretty cool episode. We got an interview with Bobby Elliott. It was a really fun conversation. Everything from 2026 plans all the way back to last year's injury and how he's kind of fared in recovery. Going to be a really fun conversation, I think, for people to listen back to. I'm going to certainly go back and try to listen to it, see if there was something I missed for maybe a future time when he's on. But it's always a really cool time to get to hear and listen to what Bobby's got to say. Always have a good time talking with him. So hopefully you guys enjoy it too. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you guys check the link down below. It's going to have a link to Bobby's merch website. It's also going to have, while you're down there, if you just go ahead and hit a like, subscribe. Make sure you stick around. We're still building things up, but appreciate all the support so far. And I found some little nuggets and notes here for the channel. I have messed up a couple things, so hopefully the quality looks a little better here, and we'll continue to build and go forward. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you stick around. Again, stay tuned for the interview with Bobby Elliott.
And literally gut punches. It's part of it, but we worked our way through the season and we did not steer off course. We wanted to complete the All-Stars, and that's what we signed up to do. So we did that, and to my best of ability, pretty much, other than the last few races. But we did what we could in the All-Stars. Can't thank my family enough, honestly, for giving me the devotion to do the All-Stars. Like I said last time I was on this podcast, it was kind of my thing. Like growing up, I'd been with Brett Lane and stuff. I'd done speed weeks with Brett Lane. I'd been on the road with him, and I really enjoyed the All-Stars and just what the name meant, and how long I'd been around. The like prestige around it was very, very high, and just wanted to do that, and I wanted to follow that, and that's what we did. And I could not be more proud of my family and everything for what we had done this year.
Yeah, we had talked when we talked last year. You made mention you wanted to win races, and unfortunately that didn't quite come to fruition. But again, there were moments where you came very close. Obviously, the I-96 race comes to mind, the Waynesfield race comes to mind specifically. You started second row in that race, and unfortunately that didn't quite work out the way you wanted it to. But going into this year, I would assume that the goal, especially with that kind of newfound confidence from the end of the season, you're thinking that you're going to win some races this year.
Yeah, I think me and my dad, we watch some film in the den every night and watch some races back, and it's like we have some dates definitely started on our calendar. Like, we know what we did wrong here. You got to do this. I think it's one of the places we've been a lot. It's like Mercer. It's like we've been there so much and stuff. It's like you figure one of these times I'll get lucky. You gotta have a little bit of luck too. It's not all about usually you got to have some times where it's like you just get lucky and get put in good situations. And I think if we get put in those good situations, I think we know what to do. And I think just watching film back and just improving on every lap and every corner, you got to watch. I got GoPros and stuff on the car for a reason. It's like you gotta pay attention to things like that. And it's I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity, especially with the All-Stars. I think it's a great group of guys. I think anyone can agree. Anytime you go to a 410 race now, I think it's just completely. I mean, there's heavy hitters. Whether you go to AFCS, whether you travel around. It's insane the amount of like absolute hitters there are everywhere. You go to AFCS local night, you got Cap Henry, and you got Bryce Lucius and guys like that who are really could run national stuff and can run up front with the Outlaws. And you want to be able to chase them down. You go to the All-Stars, you got guys like Caleb Henry and Cale Thomas, and they're hitters. They're not slouches. Both points champions. And anywhere you go now, I don't think there is such thing as like a blow off night or anything like that, or cherry picking anymore. There's simply not anything. Like even fast, they got Jordan Ryan and guys like that have potential to do really good. Ricky Peterson, like he's a pretty good race car driver, and there's not such thing as a blow off night. And I think you have to be on your A game every night of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were to look back at last year, what kind of a grade would you give yourself on the season that you had?
I think at the beginning of the season I would give myself an F, to be honest with you. I mean, personally, I think it's just I don't know if it's really I mean, I would give myself a B minus, how the year ended and everything, but it's not just I think myself is just it's part of it, but you just get in bad luck in bad situations, and it's like sometimes I put us in those bad situations where it's like, you ran a B main, you start at the rear of, a race and stuff, and you're trying to battle your way forward, and stuff happens sometimes. And
Mhm.
if you're in those B mains, you got to watch out, and it's very you got to be elbows up, you got to protect yourself and make it in the show and figure it out from there. And at times, I think we did a really good job of that, especially at the end of the year. I thought we were amazing at qualifying and putting ourselves up front in heat races. Being in that invert mattered so much, and I feel like most of the time, especially the all stars, you had to be in the invert, and if you didn't go forward in your heat, there was a chance where you're going to start more rear in the field in the feature. And it's like even if you did go forward in your heat, it was really hard to start front in a feature if you're outside of that invert. So putting yourself in good situations is definitely all about it, but. Yeah, definitely a B minus just because how the end of the year went. And I think there was a lot of like chances of success and a lot of points where I'm like, we could have had something tonight, but it's
Mhm.
it's kind of racing. It's kind of how it works out. Nothing's gonna work out exactly how you want. Everyone would want to win every night if so. So definitely just gotta kind of take your blows and figure it out from there. It's it's a hard traveling schedule, especially when I did the All Stars last year, and it's a lot of new tracks and a lot of stuff like that that has a lot of factors into your grade.
Yeah, seems a lot tougher than it looked. Like
Yeah,
the front, when you look at it up front, and even this year, you look at it, and you're like, oh, it's only 30 races, 35
yeah,
races. But when you sit back and realize the amount of time and effort that it takes to make sure the cars are ready to go, the your equipment is up to the standard that you want it to be, night in, night out on
yeah,
a circuit like that, especially when you're trying to chase a championship, which pays pretty well. I mean, all things considered. I mean,
yeah.
they did a great job last year. Rich did so well when it came to not only marketing but the sponsorships, pulling in with Napa, bringing Valvoline on board. Of course, the Flow broadcasts help out tremendously.
Mhm.
All of that stuff. I mean, you're chasing a professional points title. I mean, there's no question about it. It doesn't matter if that's a 30 race schedule or a 91 race schedule like the Outlaws do. That's a big schedule. That's a lot of time and effort to put in. I think a lot of people kind of overlooked that last year, and I would hope they don't this year because there were a lot of really good races. I mean,
Yeah,
some of the best races of the season last year came from the All Star Circuit of Champions. That's not me digging at any other series, but I mean, when you have guys that won 10, 15 plus races in other series,
yeah,
and you look at the All Stars, and it was, yeah, Caleb Henry was great, but there were a lot of other guys who were in that conversation. There were guys, different drivers at different tracks that were in the conversation to win just because that's what they knew better than the others.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, some of the best racing overall last year was this, and you're gonna go again 30 races plus a 9 race, or sorry, an 8 race plus a rain out date speed week. Um, like that's still another, that's a heavy bill to try to put together for, again, from first weekend, second weekend of April, all the way through the first weekend of October. I mean, that's a long year.
yeah. I think the All Star schedule is really daunting, and like that's why it's like me and my dad have talked about it a lot too. It's like sometimes you just think like if you stayed within my state, pretty much you can run Oshwaken, you can run with the Outlaws, you can go right over the border. It's an hour from me.
Hmm.
You can run Butler high limit. You can run Lawrenceburg high limit. You can run Hartford Outlaws. You can run Hartford All Stars. Um, and really, you don't even have to really leave your state. And you got like six very good, high paying shows that have a lot of prestige behind them. And I think All Star schedule is really, when you looked at it at the beginning of the year, you go like, oh, Central Pennsylvania is obviously going to be probably one of your hardest weekends, and that
Hmm.
definitely did not disappoint. That's I know some of the All Star guys did really good out there, and man, I just I wish I had knew how to do so good out there, but those places are really daunting to you as like a driver. It's my first year really traveling a lot more outside of my comfort zone. Like I didn't
Hmm.
have to go there, so I didn't go there. I used to. So um last year was definitely like you gotta be there, you gotta be here, you gotta be there, you gotta be there. And it's like that stuff I think you also have to realize it's like those are places like sometimes like you don't want to go, but you have to go there. You have to go put it in the show. You have to go get a good points night and everything. And it's like that's part of it too. It's very hard to go into a place you haven't been and be dominant. It's like that's what makes the Outlaws so good as well. It's some of those guys have been on the road a long time, so they know where they're going and everything. But that's what makes it so hard, especially your first year traveling with place or with the All Stars and stuff. It's very hard to be good right off the bat, and very
Hmm.
hard to kind of catch up with all the experienced guys. And I think the All Stars did have some of the best shows. I think it's some of the best racing, honestly. And I watched back the races at the end of the night. I'm like, wow, this was a good race, up front there. And it's cool to see. I should get a lot more respect this year. I hope so. I think it deserves it. I love that it's on Flow every week. That's probably one of the biggest upsides of the All Stars. It's like you get to watch it on the Flow every week and everything. So, um, not saying that you can't go to, like I said, I can stay in my state and run 6 regional national shows pretty much and still be on TV, but you're on like 3 different streaming services, 3 different series, and you're not racing the same guys. And it's stuff like that. It's like it all goes into factor into your schedule and what you're trying to do this year. There's a lot of good options, and I think it's just kind of picking and choosing and kind of pros and cons for each.
Yeah, of course. What was the biggest thing you learned last year?
I
Like,
think,
if you had to say you're taking it into this year, I'm sorry to have interrupted you
no, you're
already,
good.
but you going into this year, like if you were to take something from last year to this year, what would you say the most important thing you learned last year was?
Being prepared, 100%. I did not have nearly enough equipment last year. I think I talked to you guys. I was like, yeah, I have one complete car and one car that's kind of a kit car, like
Hmm.
has axles in it, but no seat, no pedals, no brakes, no power steering or anything. So, being more prepared, and I think we definitely have a good group of cars together here out in the shop and stuff now. I got, thanks to the catch fronts guys, Brian Pauls and Steve Pierce and all those guys. It's very easy to get more prepared when you're gifted such a great thing, such as what they're doing at Catch Fence. They're they're rewarding people cars who deserve them and everything. And I think we're gonna make that thing look good wherever we go this year with it. And I think that's kind of one of the coolest things is we had a lot of equipment left over from last year just because we did have issues and stuff, but we got, 3 frames that are, pretty much bolt some of your last stuff on like a seat and stuff, and you're pretty much ready to go for the year or ready for the go for the night and whatever. So it's very important to be prepared, and I think I learned that especially during Speed Week last year. Just being behind the 8 ball and having to miss a night at Eldora because
Hmm.
we didn't have a car and stuff. It's stuff like that, and like I had to. Like, there's some weeks this year where I ran to wherever because I bought a frame and I had to go back and build it that night. So I raced Saturday because we raced Tuesday at Wayne County. You
Hmm.
got 3 days there to get ready from Wayne County Tuesday. I wrecked a frame. Wednesday you go get the car. Thursday you build it. Friday you got to be in Bloomington, Indiana, and go race. And it's like things like that is getting prepared and not having those like I guess laps of like equipment and gaps that you need to fill. When you need to do something, you need to do it then and now. And I think that's like really the most important thing. It's just when you do have a moment, you almost got to fill that moment every time with something to do with the cars or whatever, because you need to take that next step to get prepared. And it's like, excuse me, but there's always a lot more you can do to get prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk a little bit about that catch pit deal, and obviously it came from probably your most unfortunate portion of the season, but that deal comes together, and I mean, we've talked about it off camera. We've talked about it pretty much as it happened. I think is that you know that's a big deal for a team that I don't want to say doesn't have the national tour money, but I mean that's kind
Mhm.
of where we sit, right? Let's the
Yeah.
honesty of the situation. That's a big deal for anybody, let alone a team that doesn't have the equipment or again, like we said last year, if you wrecked one race car, that was it for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it took you days to recover,
Mhm.
and really, I mean, better question, did you recover from that?
Um, man, I don't think there's ever a way to fully recover from that,
Right.
especially the catch fence deal. It's absolutely amazing what those guys are doing.
Hmm.
honestly, you just had to really like submit a video and stuff and show kind of what had happened. And yeah, it probably happened, I had some really bad wrecks this year, not just, me fracturing my back and stuff,
Hmm.
but outside of that, it was very like very unfortunate the stuff that had happened. And I guess, you kind of some of the stuff you wreck, you put it in a bin and you say, we got to go through this. We got to go through this. I mean, we eventually did, once we got everything, back for the season and stuff, but you pull some things out. You're like, oh, okay, that's not as bad as, you thought or whatever, there's this thing's not bad. Oh, that's trash. That's trash. That's trash. And, I wrecked things last year I never imagined I would wreck and stuff like that. It's just things like that. I guess you never fully recover. Being a family-owned team, you definitely do not fully ever recover. It's always kind of lingering there. It's very much of a struggle always. Especially doing it with your family and stuff. You don't got
Hmm.
no. I mean, Rise of right now, we don't have no big like sponsor or anything. We still have one motor and that's it. It's very hard, to pick and choose on what you're doing and being smart racers. And I think we did a good job of that, especially at the end of the year. But man, before that, it was really hard to brace smart. I felt like everywhere I turned, something would happen, my fault or not. It was just issue after issue after
Hmm.
issue, and it was just kind of a streak of bad luck. And you have those, you really do. But there's a point, my mom and dad would say this to me all the time. They're like, no, like you make your own luck. So I think that's what kind of learned at the end of the year, especially. It's a lot of learning process just to get to that preparedness level. And I've never been this prepared for a season. I would say that. I mean, we got two cars literally ready to go roll out of the shop, race both of them. And it's pretty cool to say, other than like motor wise, we got pretty much three of everything. It's nice. It's very nice. It's like, we're just lacking that motor right now. And that's something, been trying to work on, just trying to find somebody to somehow lend us a motor to make racing a little bit more comfortable or sponsor us a motor. So that's a big part that's still missing. But a lot of other things, filled the gaps. And my just can't thank, my parents enough and everything they're doing for me, because they've really made this work and they made it a dream come true for me running the All Stars last year and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the year goes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So the catch festival comes together, but it comes together because of a crash that ultimately ended your season.
Mhm.
Walk us through, I guess, the process has been to recover, because it's not easy by any means. Back
Yeah.
injuries are some of the most tedious injuries to try to come back from, other than probably concussion. And I know how hard it was for me with concussions and stuff like that, to get through all those. But kind of walk through what this process has been like, and you can go from day one if you want to, really, on
Yeah.
kind of what everything looked like, how your day to day ended up going, all the way until now, where you are ready to go once again.
Yeah. Man, first day, I would say, having that initial injury and stuff, you're kind of in shock. I feel like, you get airlifted and stuff, and you're at the hospital, and you don't know, like, you don't know what's gonna happen next.
Mhm.
Honestly, like they could tell you, like you're done racing. Like I think that scaredness part, and I really never, you know, it hurt really bad, but it really never, I don't think, hit me until one of my friends had sent my sister actually a message because she was in the hospital with me. And kind of hit me. It's like, man, I love racing. I loved the community around it. I think Leighton Wagner made me tear up in the hospital from what he'd said to me and everything. But yeah, first night was very just kind of, I guess you could say, like, just feeling out the situation, feeling out what was happening. And they had assessed pretty quickly that I had fractured my T4 and T5 in my back. And that definitely wasn't something I wanted to hear. I knew something was wrong instantly, but that's something you never want to hear, especially as a driver. It's like back injuries are probably the most scary thing.
Mhm.
So we had kind of went from there, and it took me a day to get out of the hospital. And once I got out of the hospital, just kind of drove home. You can't really do much. You're just kind of sitting up in a chair and stuff. You can't even sit like relaxed. You're straight up, and you're feeling every bit of movement, that's for sure. And I think that was part of it that really just, it deterred me a lot. Yeah, it really, it's taken away my racing and everything, where I thought I was like going up and getting better and better. And I thought we were in the point where like best part of the season almost. And it's like it really deterred me there. It's like you get knocked down so hard. I felt like I'd gotten knocked down so many times in the season where it sucked. It really did. So it knocked me down pretty bad, and day by day, getting recovered and just trying to do normal-ish things, and you cannot lift anything. Like, I can't even describe the amount of, like, it's so weird. It really is, and it's really weird not to do anything really and just kind of walk around. And I think I only missed one day of school, and then I went back, and I could only carry my laptop to class because I couldn't carry my backpack on my back because it hurt. Yeah, and I saw specialists in Michigan and stuff up by my house, and we kind of went from there and just kind of went, appointment after appointment, seeing how the healing process was looking and how long it was taking and how long I could do till I could, go play basketball with my buddies, or go lift stuff on the car, take the car apart even. It's like those things was just like I wanted to go do stuff. I wanted to, you get mentally like you're just like stuck, and it's like it's not good for you. It really isn't. So, I think one of the first things I did as I could is I literally, like, I had, my girlfriend or something, like, cast the pole, and I reeled it in while I was fishing in my pond. And that was just kind of one of my first things I wanted to do, is like I wanted to do something outside of just sit there and kind of get my mind off of what was happening. And I think, I did a really good job staying positive throughout the whole thing and getting through my issues and getting through my injury. It was a big deal. So finally getting cleared, end of November there, after Thanksgiving. It was great. It really was. It was really a sigh of relief. You still have like pains here and there, and aches. It's like it never, I think, fully goes away, but
Mhm.
definitely a huge improvement. Definitely feel amazing, and I definitely am just started to be more active and started to do that stuff, and getting yourself back to like that racing shape, as you call it, but or as I call it anyways. You got to get back into racing shape, and you got to get your mind into it, and finally being able to work, touch, feel the cars. And that's a big deal for me. So just kind of repairing that. And of course, Catch Fence did an awesome job, for me. And just, yeah, they kind of stepped up. They saw what happened to me, and Brian Paul's really went to work. Found me my exact like car, J&J, and everything, and put all the stuff on it that it would be useful to me and that I could use whether I was running, whatever race. It's a quality piece that I got there, and I'm really really happy to take that thing and hopefully race it a bunch this year. Hopefully.
Is it your intention for that to be your primary car?
Yeah, I definitely want it to be. Me and my dad have been talking about it a lot. I definitely want it to be. I love that car. I really do. It's a
Mhm.
little. It's just you gotta learn a new frame and everything. And I'm actually like my other car that I have built right now is a car that I ended the year on, that I literally fractured my back in. We got it
Mhm.
fixed, and we're gonna race it. And you're just kind of deciding what we're gonna do with that whole deal right now. I think definitely we're gonna run the Catch Fence logo as much as we can. We're gonna run the wings a bunch.
Right.
So many people who went into that car. Rhino Racing, Scott Lucius, and STP Racing, and all those guys. They really put their money and stuff towards me, and they knew who I was, and it was really nice to kind of you see all these people like donating stuff to it. Brett Lane Racing, and
Mhm.
even the graphics. Rankin did the rack graphics, and they were awesome. And people like that. Always all the little people who added up to make that deal possible. And just can't thank everyone enough, seriously, for that, because it's done so much for my team and my family and everything. It's really like kind of like a proud thing for me. I'm very happy to run that. And I'm very happy that they chose me as one of their people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really cool deal, and it's, I mean, it's super. I think what they did was super important to the sport. I mean, because they didn't
Mhm.
just as much as they helped you, they helped a few other teams, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And I can't off the top of my head remember exactly who they helped out, but there was quite a few that they did, and it was just really cool to watch because obviously Brian's been around the sport a long time, and he knows how hard it is,
Yeah.
to go through a full season anywhere. And so what they did was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite things I think that I've seen happen over the last couple of years. Certainly, when you talk about getting ready for this year, I mean, you're fully healthy, cleared to race at this point.
Oh yeah. 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 Fully cleared as of like the end of November, pretty much fully clear and healthy, and
Okay.
ready to rip. Excited for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to this 2026 season, I mean, you made mention you have a few different things, and you haven't announced it exactly what you're doing, and I'm not asking you to announce it here. I don't. I think that it's my understanding that you still don't really know, which is great. I mean, honestly, keep all those options open. But what kind of expectations do you have for the year in 2026?
Just being consistent and like getting rid of those bad nights, it's in those bad nights and making a full night of it. I feel like we did a really nice job, at the end of the year, finally putting like portions of nights together, but it's like
Mhm.
putting that full night together and being good. And like when you go somewhere, I want to pull in and have confidence in my equipment and confidence in myself that we're going to be good. And, I think that'll go a long way. And I think I got so much drive and so much more motivation. And it's like, I've just wanted to race, since September. I just wanted to get back in the car. It kind of like it sucked going back to Jim Ford and everything, going to watch. And man, you just want to get back in that car and you want to do something. Yeah, it sucks not to be in a car for that long, but definitely got a lot of motivation and I want to win races. My same thing as last year. It didn't really work out last year. Excuse me, but gotta be consistent, gotta have all parts of the night together. Qualifying, I think, is where it starts, and from there, you just gotta figure it out. You gotta qualify good and put yourself in good spots from there. And the times we did qualify good, I think it showed in our feature results. So just sticking on that track, just trying to do what we can. Trying to put my family and stuff in a comfortable situation. We don't want to outdo ourselves if we can't do, if we can't do the all stars. That's it's fine. I just want to race.
Yeah,
Like I said, you wanna, kind of go around here and kind of you could go to all those national regional races in Michigan and kind of stick with that and go over to Canada. It's like, that's an option too. It's things like that, true outlaw schedule, stuff like that. So but I definitely want to challenge myself. I don't want to be racing just like a weekly shows every week or anything. I want to do something that's going to be challenging to me. I want to keep better my career. You race better people, you get better as a driver.
mhm.
So that's something I definitely want to, keep pursuing.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at some of the schedules. You mentioned it. Last weekend this year with the World of Outlaws is, I think that's a huge deal. First off,
Yep.
the World of Outlaws going back up there is incredible. That's it's a class one facility really when it comes to sprint car racing in general or any kind of racing. And let alone getting back into Canada, kind of that's this isn't completely a non-factor up there. Um, I'm sure guys like Glenn Stiers being from that area help out a lot when it comes to that type of thing. But um, getting to go up there, if that's in truly your indication, I mean, how do you kind of judge the idea of sprint car racing returning up there, or should I say national touring series returning up there?
Man, I went last year to the Oshwagon show. Man, I went with Skylar G and my sister. But that was awesome. That facility is amazing. Everything's concrete in the pits and everything, and there's a fountain like next to the track. And that's like
Mhm.
I've never seen a fountain at a racetrack. And you look over and Glen Stiers shops, all the glass and everything. That is really truly an amazing facility, and what they've done up there is absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm so amazed when I pulled in there. Like, you're in a different country and everything, but that place is absolutely amazing. Everything is done by the book, organized. They have a tech shed, a scale shed, and everything. But it's not shed; it's a whole barn. It's like it's amazing. Kind of like I mean, it's like kind of like how they do in Australia, like pre-race tech and everything. They pull them into
Mhm.
that big shop and everything. That's how it was there, and it was like it was awesome to see. It truly was, and was amazing to see. All the Canadians doing so well up there too. It's like it was really cool. That they are heavy hitters up there, and that track got so slick and so racy at the end of the night, and very technical. And you don't see the Outlaws tracks that I don't think get that slick usually, but it
They
was
don't let
it
them.
was
That's sorry.
no,
That's the
yeah,
downside to like.
yeah,
Because that's what made the All Star races so good. It's what makes high limits racing so good. Weed Sport, one of my favorite tracks in the country,
mhm,
because it you can't keep moisture in it, and
no,
it
no,
creates such fun racing.
yeah,
Last weekend's going to be that way, and I hope that there are people in the ears that are not letting this place. They're not telling them to put the water truck on the track after every set of racing because
man, I
there's
don't
no
think
need.
they will. I don't think they can, honestly. That place just it rained there actually the night before, and
Hmm.
I thought it would be pretty like gripped up the whole night. No, that thing was slick and qualifying. It's awesome. Yeah, you're right. The slick is what makes good racing. It's like places like, Waynesfield in Ohio, even like Wayne County got pretty slick a lot of times this year, and just tracks like that, it's like the slick makes it fun, and it's
Hmm.
like you gotta have that slick to have good racing. I feel like sometimes like power down racetracks put on good shows, but
Yeah.
some people don't go for the speed. I go for more of just I want to see people like slide, and I don't care. Like Weed Sports, an awesome example. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, Weed Sports amazing.
Yeah. And looking through here, I mean, you got a bunch of there's quite a few New York tracks on the schedule for the All Stars. I'd say were last year. State Line was great last year, um, if I'm remembering it correctly. So let me ask you a question, actually, because this is kind of a popular subject throughout the world of sprint car racing, and you, as most of the All Star guys do, see this the most. Slick racetracks, dry racetracks are dusty. How does the dust affect you as a driver?
Man, I think when it gets later at night, you kind of on the starts of races, you don't really know where you're going when the dust happens.
Mhm.
But beyond that, I think it's the dust is really, it depends. I feel like I don't notice other than the first lap. For me, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know what, it's whatever. It's slick, it's
Right.
dusty. Who cares? You don't really. You're kind of so locked into the track, and you're figuring everything out. You got to worry about yourself, and it's like
Hmm.
I don't even notice it most of the time, honestly. I love racing the slick and stuff. I think it's really really a good deal. I think we got a really good slick setup, honestly, and I enjoyed the slick tracks like State Line and stuff. Heat race win there and everything, and
Hmm.
Latrobe, top 10 there. It's like those places got glass slick, and it's like I enjoyed that. I don't know. Like I feel like we struggled a little bit more in the, tacky, more heavier dirt and stuff like that, but I think we figured it out towards the end of the year, and I think that was really crucial to having good finishes as well.
Yeah, I mean that one thing I noticed when I went through really any result you had last year was all but maybe one or two features you made, you moved forward.
Mhm.
There wasn't really any going backwards, and those tracks are the ones that did happen to slick off and stuff like that. So it is one of those things where that is certainly, I think, a strong suit, or it would be from the outside looking in, anyways. Um, well, you move forward, and every feature you made for the most part, like I said, there's like probably one or two if I remember right, but beyond that, you went forward, and that's
Mhm.
one of the most important things, really. I mean, it's not so much that you can make the feature and be fast all night, but if you drop, you know, if you go from first to 10th in 2 laps, okay, cool. It's being able to progress through the night. There's some other schedule things here. Kokomo and High Limit, I think, it's kind of a dual sanctioned event, if I'm not mistaken, for
Mhm.
the All Stars this year. How what does that kind of mean to you? Because that would bring a lot more competition to the racetrack. Obviously, opportunities to get better, opportunities to prove yourself. But what does that kind of event? What do you think that does for the All Stars?
I think it kind of, I mean, you don't want to have the All Stars looked at as like kind of a little brother series. You don't want that, and
Hmm.
I don't love that aspect of it. But I'm all for racing like a track like Kokomo and stuff. Like I think it's like the things that matter to me is it's like if I'm going to a track, with whatever series, or even if I'm not, I want to race a track like, Fremont has like so many national races and stuff like that. I want to be
Yeah.
at Fremont because I want to get good because when the national people come to town, I want to be good there too.
Hmm.
And it's like, I think having that mentality for me, it's like, you got to go to Kokomo because Kokomo's on either, High Limit or Outlaws schedule. It's been on the schedules for, so long, or All Stars. And it's like,
Yeah.
you want to go to those places because you want to get better and you want to learn how to race there because it's very crucial because you want to be good when the national guys come to town, and just putting your best foot forward is I think most important thing. And a place like Kokomo, I think that's awesome, that's amazing. I mean, it's a great thing for the All Stars to do, and it's a good thing, that the High Limit's going to get a lot of cars, and that's cool. It's very, good, useful date for the All Stars, and I like the way that sounds. Honestly, I mean, it's
Yeah.
cool if you make the feature. I think that night, I think you've done something honestly because
Yeah.
it's a good field, good
It,
field.
it's almost very reminiscent to how we felt last year, when we were talking going over to Central PA and racing
Mhm.
Williams Grove and Lincoln, which is back on the schedule as well. And if you go and make those features against the guys who are there who are running similar quality equipment, that's a big deal. That's a help
Yeah.
to your season and your points. And especially if this is one of those races that goes towards the points standings and funds, it's a big deal to make that show. It's a big deal to be a part of it. So I think the stuff like that is, I think it's cool that there's even that willingness to do a dual sanction show. But I think it's also great for the idea of you get to see really where you line up against the national touring series that you're going to face later in the year too. Few other things, but one of them, Speed Week last year. You mentioned it, one of the toughest weeks of your career.
Mhm.
Do you intend to go back and do that again this year? And if so, what do you think you can take from last year to make that better for you?
Man, I don't know if I didn't race the All-Stars, I don't know if I do all of Speed Week, honestly.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a very
demanding.
challenging it's a very challenging week, and it's 9 nights of
Mhm.
absolute craziness, and you're on the road for 9 nights, and I don't know if I'd 100% do it. I might pick and choose a few nights. I might do, like, whatever Friday, Saturday are, and then Friday, Saturday on the other end. It's like going home, getting that break, I feel like is cool too. It's like it's different when you drop into a race, I guess you can say, like,
Mhm.
what Brian Brown did, and like I guess you can say, what some of the, outlaw guys did before this year. Is It's different when you drop into a race than when you're on a tour. It's like
Mhm.
when they've been on the road already for 6 nights straight, and that's their seventh night, but you're coming in fresh and you have your best like equipment. You've been preparing for this for a week. I think that's different, and I think that there's an advantage to that. Sometimes there's not an advantage to that too. You can have guys who are like, I like being in the car more and stuff, which I haven't been in the car that much ever. So I think it was a great thing. I think, being in the car that much really, like, you learn a lot about your equipment very quick. So I think it has its pros and cons. I don't know if I do 100% of it though, if I don't race the All-Stars.
Yeah, yeah, it's demanding. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the best way to explain it. And there's a lot of guys that learned that firsthand last year. You did. Was it at Waynesfield? Was that where it was when you had the wreck that completely destroyed the frame?
No, actually,
Or was that,
well, that was Wayne County. Yeah,
Wayne
that
County?
was Wayne County. Yeah, yeah, just that's another thing too. You got when you tear up equipment during Speed Week, it is very, very hard to recover from that the whole week. I learned that definitely. So it's, Millstream, I had snapped the frame in the feature. I hit a
Mhm.
bump and the frame snapped. I mean, something stupid or rocket or whatever. And then the next night, we go to Wayne County, and then that happens, running pretty good in the feature, almost battling for a top 10 out of the B main, and, destroy a car.
Yeah,
Then I have to take a night off, and then we get a rain date, and then I go to Waynesfield, and a rear end randomly, shears a pinion off, one of the tooths off, and then you're out on the road. Now you're going from there, you're going to Moeller. When we get to Moeller, we had rear end problems again. Car wouldn't stay in gear and just stupid things like that. So didn't get to race Moeller night, and then you go to Atomic, I think, for your final night.
yeah,
And at Atomic, what had happened is when we had broke the rear end, it apparently the U joint had something wrong with it, and the U joint caused a lot of vibrations from my feet back. And we didn't get to qualify, so we changed the U joint, the drive shaft, and the rear before the B main, or before the heat race. Ran the heat race, and then our brake lines ripped out of the car, so we didn't even run the B main. So it's like that was a really stressful week on, a few people,
yeah,
and that could have been easily, I think, avoided at times, and not running that might have put us in a lot better spot for a lot of things. I mean, I think points, even, if we would take Speed Week out of the question, I think we would have been a lot better off in points, so that's for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Well, honestly, I thought I had more, but I really don't. And but it's always been fun, man. I enjoy talking with you. kind of same thing I told you last year. It's cool to have a kid that knows his car. And when I say kid, understand that I'm going to be 26 and you're what, 19 now, right?
Yep, yep.
Like you know. So when I say kid, take it lightly, but like it
I'll
is
be
it
a
is
kid.
it is cool to see you guys going out there and putting this thing together. You go one night at a time and just in a sense try to survive, but it's a world where you kind of have to if you don't have a lot of backing behind you.
Yeah,
um and it makes it difficult. Like I was I've told a handful of other people this, and looking into some of these things myself. Like I think it was 8 years ago, I looked into a micro. I was just curious what the cost was, and it was probably between 5 and 10 grand, depending upon what kind of quality you wanted, what
yeah.
kind of chassis
Oh
you
yeah.
wanted, all that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, if you want anything that's going to compete, you're looking at probably close to 25, $30,000, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
and that's not even the top end stuff.
No.
And
Yeah.
that's what these kids at Millbridge are running. I mean, I live
Yeah.
30 minutes from Millbridge, and that's what these kids are running, is $30,000 cars, night in, night out. How is that for when a micro? I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, a micro is more expensive to purchase now and get a full car than a midget.
Yep. Yep. And
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure it's
heck,
also more expensive than a non-wing sprint car, which
I
is
was gonna
kind of
say
crazy.
honestly, some of the micro prices are like you can buy a pretty good sprint car roller for the
Mhm.
price you pay for a micro roller. I'm not talking like, it might not be, tie on everything or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's some cars out there where it's like, I mean, you can pretty much trade them out hand for hand, and it's like they're the same, like same level about it. It's just
Hmm.
it's crazy where racing is going in general in that aspect too. It's there's a lot of money being thrown around. It's really hard to keep up. It really is. And it's like I
Yeah.
think we do the best what we can. I think my parents do an amazing job with that. And we have so many good sponsors. Crest Lincoln and Catch Fence and SS Stripping and A740 suspension and everyone on that Catch Fence car. Rhino Racing, Ranking Graphics, Rhino Racing, STP, Lucius Trucking. I mean, all those guys. Put something towards that car, and that's the amount that helped. I cannot like explain that enough because it's
Yeah.
so many people have donated to that, and so many people have donated to me and believe in me, and that means a lot to me. It, like literally about made me cry about that. I mean, it's really cool. It's the amount of like support that there is in the racing world still is so amazing to me, and how cool that is to see. And I'm so thankful to be put in this position I am, and I really hope whatever we do this year, it goes really well, because I want to put those people on that car up front. I want to show people the Catch Run Steel is amazing, and what Brian's doing, it's not fake, it's real, and it's happening. It's an honor to be a part of.
Yeah. No, it's just super cool. Like I said, I mean, it's gonna stutter 5 times, but it is like it's hard for you. It's hard for anybody to really put into words exactly how important that is. Again, being gifted a brand new race car is not something that just happens every day. It falls out of thin air, and it's just, again, it's really cool that you guys get that opportunity. I think it's going to be something that I would expect that you'll make the most of, man. I
Yeah.
again, the way you had so many things last year that could have worked against you, that you could have just said, "We're done. We're gonna go back home. We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna we're gonna run the random national shows. We'll do a weekly series or whatever, but we're done doing this." That
Yeah.
could have happened after Speed Week. You could have 100% just said, "Yeah, we quit," but you didn't. You guys kept fighting. You kept pushing, and ultimately the results again showed as time went on. I mean, you're 2 weeks removed from Speed Week, and you go and run and start what is, again, a stretch of 9 out of 10 features that you make, and you're not only making the features. It's not like you're making them and finishing 20th and back. You're making them and pushing together top 15s, a couple, a few top 10s here and there, putting together really good runs that, like that's momentum building. And again, to have an extra car in the garage certainly is going to help you guys out tremendously. So, um, dude, I'm proud of you, man. I really am. Last year, there were a lot of guys that I did not know what to expect, and I'll be honest, you were one of them. I had no clue what to expect. Um, you're relatively new to 410 racing. You hadn't had the experience of some of the other guys. You came out and you punched above your weight, especially down the line. But now that is your weight. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
now the expectation is you do go out there and you qualify top 10, top 15, and maybe go win a race or two. And that's something that I think is certainly within reach for you. I think you can certainly make that happen. So
Yeah.
um, I just want you to know that like there's a lot of people who've noticed. I'm sure of that. I'm just happy to see the success you've had, man. I'm glad we've gotten to kind of know each other a little bit over the last year and kept in contact and been able to really kind of see what things look like this year, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it a lot. It's it means a lot, for people to see the progress and stuff. And we've done it from the ground up. It's just not a really big, team per se. And I got so many great people behind me, that's for sure. I just can't thank anyone enough on that catch fence car, honestly. And just thank you everyone, supporting me and backing me and buying t-shirts and stuff. That's the things that help, the most. And I really do appreciate, the kind words and everything. It means a lot. It really does. Like I said, it's not possible without everyone, especially the catch runs car. Like I'm gonna say it one more time, but Rhino Racing, Truckworks of Ohio, Lane Racing, SCP Racing, Lucius Trucking, Kaiser, all the people on that car. It really that goes to show, the race community. I mean, there's not all hope lost at times. So that's the great thing to show. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, just thank you. I really appreciate the nice words though, and I really hope the progress keeps going and we can put this thing on the top step of a podium and be sitting on the front stretch at the end of the night. That's the goal every night. And sometimes you're happy with a fifth place finish. That feels like a win to you. And you gotta take your little wins and you gotta just make the most of it and use that to fuel your next race. And that's the most important part. Just going through the year, having confidence, and keep trucking.
Yeah, dude, your mindset's going to help you a lot. That's one thing for sure, man. I don't think I've ever seen you kind of lose that positivity and that thought that you can go out and still win races. And as long as you continue that, dude, it's going to be it's going to happen. That's for sure. It's a lot of things go off of mindset, and in the racing world, it's that's all you got, and a lot of times. So, dude, I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. I'm excited to hopefully be talking to you again later down the
Yeah.
line, and kind of seeing. Hopefully, we'll be talking about that first win at some point this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what
um,
I like to hear. Yeah.
it'll be exciting, man. So thank you so much for being a part of this, coming on. Make sure you get me a link. We're gonna have it in the description below for Bobby's merch, so you guys can go and um, support Bobby and the team. So thank you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how the year goes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoyed our little conversation with Bobby. Had a really fun time. Again, want to reiterate that, but always a good time. Enjoying and looking forward to what he's got going for the 2026 season. And with all that said, uh, make sure again you leave a like, subscribe, help us continue to grow. Appreciate all the support so far. Again, we found some little tweaks and things, specifically with the video quality. I realized that I hadn't updated the or fixed the quality back to 4K from when I got the computer back and had to reinstall everything. So the quality has been a little poor because I didn't pay attention or pay close enough attention. That's my fault. So hopefully it looks a lot better today. Hopefully it continues to look better. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in, and again, we will see you guys next time here on Sprint Car Central.